welcome back to our video series, Doing Your First Data Science Project, a walkthrough blog post. This video is going to cover, this is the series on, we're in the exploratory data analysis phase, or EDA phase right now. And as we discussed in the overview, there are 4 questions that we're going to be looking at in this phase. And so we're going to have videos that cover each question one by one. So we're going to start off with, what do the variables look like? So what we're going to do, so I'm going to go down and I'm going to actually paste in the cells, and you can do that as well as we go along here, and then just discuss. Also, we're going to cover some histograms and some bar plots. Histograms for the number of variables and bar plots for the categorical variables. So that's the game plan. Let's jump in. So first we're going to start at the high level. We want to just understand the data. So we're going to start off by just describing the data. So I'm going to copy this into my notebook. Run the cell, which I can do by hitting Shift Enter. You can also click, there's different ways to run the cell. You can click Shift, you can tap Shift Enter or Shift Return and it will do it. You can also click Cell and click Run Cell. You can also click this play button. It says Run Cell and it will do it. So basically, this tells us, that there are 891 passengers. And it has the mean. So the mean age is 29.6. Has standard deviation. It also breaks up like each variable into quartiles. And has the min and max and standard deviation, as we said. See how, across the count, so 891 passengers, but age, there's 714. So what can we take away from that? So we can take away that that there are missing age. So there are some passengers whose age probably were not known. So it's helpful. It identifies a feature or category that has missing information. So going further into understanding what we're looking at, we're going to run this code block. So we're going to copy this. This is the summary. This is a summary of all variables. So paste that in. Here we go. Has just some highlight information. Again, these talk about unique variables. So like for the gender, there are 2 unique variables, and that makes sense, right? Male or female. Embarkment. Embarkment had 3 ports, which, you can cross-reference here. Here they are: Cherbourg, Queenstown, Southampton. Has the top names. Some of this stuff is not helpful necessarily, but it's definitely interesting. And just, again, we're just starting at the rough idea of what the variables look like. So and that's always a good way to start. You start broad, you start general, and you kind of move slowly into the specific variable, to the area rather. So how can we do that? So a good way to do that is to use histograms to check numerical data. So we're going to focus in on passenger ID survived, survived and passenger class. So survived in class were categorical, so no histograms there, but passenger ID, we can, and that's kind of also kind of meaningless. It's just a number. So, so what we're going to do instead, the other features, which are age, and the fare and the other siblings and that kind of thing, we're going to look at. So we're going to do the histograms for these. So I'm going to copy the code block and paste it in. Okay, so here we go. So we ran this. So this gives us some visual summary kind of information. Here's the age breakdown, and then you have siblings, and you have the fare. Most people paid a low fare. That kind of makes sense. And this other information. So again, this is where the data dictionary comes in handy. Like, what if I want to know, well, what is parch? I don't really know. So let's look it up. So parch is the number of parents or children aboard the Titanic. So so we can see here that most of the passengers were not parents or children. They were single passengers, but there were some families, but for the most part, no. What is this? What is SIB SP? So SIB SP is the number of siblings or spouses aboard. And again, and this makes sense, because they're single passengers, there aren't too many spouses. People are traveling alone. And this is what is discussed here. This is what is discussed here. It also talks about the tickets. We talked about that. So that's just kind of the readout on this. So now we're doing the same kind of analysis, but for the categorical data. But for that data, it's useful to do the bar plot. So so I'm just going to go ahead and copy this whole code block. And here we go. So so the survive. So this is really, really useful, I think. How survive shows that quick right away we see that more people died than survived. That makes sense. And most people were staying in the cheaper, the lower cabin. Also makes sense. Interestingly, there were more men than women. And then this has the embarkment breakdown of embarkment ports. It's very, very quick, and it's very effective information for the high level. And that ends the first question, which again was, what do the variables look like? And we're going to tackle question 2 in the next video. Thank you again for watching.